All right, everybody. Thank you. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you for joining us. We have the sister Sophia Stewart with us again today, the creator of the Matrix, and we're going to be discussing. Number one, we're going to be discussing her book, The Third Eye, which I had the opportunity to read this past week. It's right here. Make sure you guys get a copy of this book. We will put the details in the chat room for you guys where to go pick this book up at. But today we're going to be discussing not only the book, but the topic is going to be, is there a future for Black sci-fi in Hollywood? And the reason why I want to discuss this topic is because in Miss Stewart's book, there was an article. I was going to read the article, Miss Stewart, the Black sci-fi, sci-fic to be produced. I was going to read that article dated June 8th, 1981 in the Los Angeles Sentinel newspaper. Is that okay?
Yeah, that'd be great. You can read and talk about any and everything. Everything is public information. It's been entered into the courts as a fact. And another thing I want to add, I'm the writer and creator and owner of the Matrix and Terminator. I wrote the Terminator also.
And the Terminator.
I just want everybody to know that, for the record, that you left that off.
I'll make sure I put that in the title as well. Sorry about that. But so black sci-fic to be produced. Sophia Stewart is planning a production called The Third Eye, a multi-million-dollar science fiction film to be produced in 1982. Sophia Stewart independent production called The Third Eye, a multi-million-dollar science fiction film to be produced in 1982. Sophia Stewart, independent producer, represents a group of leading Black people who have an interest and desire to develop this project. The film, the first of its kind, is dedicated to former world heavyweight champion Muhammad Ali. Because of his projected success to the Black population and other areas of society, because of Ali's image as a living hero, he was chosen as a role model. The purpose of this unique film project is to create a more positive image of Black sci-fic superheroes for little Black children everywhere. The producer's intentions are to eradicate the negative roles currently projected through violence. We are currently accepting new ideas and material. For more information, write or call Sophia Stewart Productions, 256 South Robertson Boulevard, Suite 8180, Beverly Hills, California, 213-652-6452. Now, my question, Ms. Stewart. Now, we've had Black Panther. Well, let me back up for a second. Is it possible for Black sci-fi movies to be produced by Hollywood in which is funded by Black-owned studios, funded by Black people? The directors are Black, everything is done by Black people, top to bottom. Is that possible? Because of course we've had Black Panther, which was a success, but obviously it was funded by Marvel or whatnot, which is not a Black-owned studio. So the money, the funding didn't come from Black sources. Is it possible? Because I mean, these sci-fi fics, and I was reading, some of your soon-to-be scripts as far as Soulless and the other breakdowns. I mean, you're gonna need 100.
When the gods walk the earth.
That too. You're gonna need $100 million to do a sci-fi fic these days the right way, or close to it. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing a number out there. Is it possible in the future that we will have Black-owned studios who will come up with this type of money to fund Black sci-fi flicks?
Well, let me explain something to you. Black people has always had the money. The most biggest billion-dollar the consumers is Black people. But where they're putting their money is into the white world. And this happened ever since that bombing of Oklahoma back in 1929 or the 20s, when Black people were putting their money into Black economy because the whites was racist back then and they didn't want the Black money. And so the Black people supported each other and they put their money in the Black economy. And so therefore they were multi-millionaires and business owners and so forth. but then they brought in the Ku Klux Klansman and said this black little teenage boy raped this 17-year-old white girl, and then they bombed, Oklahoma, and they destroyed all the black people's property, took their property, took their monies, and this is right after that integration occurred because they wanted the black dollar. So they had the black money to circulate into all of their businesses, and that. So to answer your question, it's been going on since 1929 that black people could do anything they want, but they've been brainwashed to integrate because that's what they were told to do right after that bombing. And then let me go back to black science fiction. Black science fiction is not black or white. What makes science fiction a white or black movie is your black superhero or your white superhero. Because in white science fiction, it's Superman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Batman, and Rocky saving the world. When you looked at Star Wars before they brought in a black superhero back in 2016, I think it was, or 2015, the whites got mad because it was a white science fiction and there was no black people in the future. And just like I told you, maybe one or two black people have appeared in a white science fiction movie, but not as a superhero. And they died out the first 10 minutes of the movie. Now, Matrix introduced black superheroes because in the Matrix, and this is why you know it's a black science fiction, because like I told you, science fiction is mathematics, it's science. It has no color, but you see the first black superheroes in the movie, the first black superheroes, and the white guys, the agents, are the bad guys. That's why white people said, yeah, Sophia Stewart wrote The Matrix, because look, we're the bad guys. In our movies, we are the superheroes, the Superman saving the world. We're not the bad guys. So the difference between a black science fiction and a white science fiction is a lack of or having black superheroes or a lack of black superheroes. And to answer your question, yes, you can do whatever you want. You can put your money into any economy that you want, no matter what economy it is. It's about choices, and it's about what people have been brainwashed to, or consciously awaken, or put to sleep, or what they are robotically told to do. So that's all that's going on. You have to wake people up consciously. But Black Panther is not the first black superhero. It is the first time that Africa got a black superhero. Matrix gave you plenty of black superheroes in the Matrix, or people of color, because that's like the United Nations. That's what the Matrix is. But that's what is saving the world, is the United Nations, because we're all heroes here working together, saving the world.
And then you mentioned something.
People need to look at that. Go on.
And then you mentioned something else in regards to the violence that was being shown, or black people being, I guess, shown as being violent on the TV. I think I don't know if you are up to date on the media, if you watch a lot of TV. How is it worse now in regards to the images of black people on TV than back in 1982 when this article was written on you?
Well, if you look at like right now, the black science fiction movie, we're gonna name off what is that called? Black Lightning. If you go to Black Lightning, it's on the the W, it's on the W something station, but it's called Black Lightning. The science fiction, everybody knows about it. It's new. It's the black people going against black people. See, that's not science fiction. That's just violence.
Right.
Because what happened is the black people are doing all these evil things, and then the black superhero, Black Lightning, comes in and he destroys the black people. So that's black people on black people violence, which is going on right now.
Right.
That's not a superhero. If you go back and you look at the old black exploitation movies of Pam Grier, Coffee, Dolomite, uh, Fred Williamson. If you go back and you look at some of those black exploitation movies, they are actually black people going up against the white man. They even say it in the movie. I got a plan to stick it to the man. Well, everybody knows a plan to stick it to the man was a plan to stick it and get back at the white man. And that's what you see Pam Grier battling, and that's what you see Dolomite battling and others. Go back and look at Nigga Charlie, Fred Williamson. So I'm just trying to get people to wake up consciously because you've been looking at this stuff, but your ideology of it is all wrong. Somebody has brainwashed you and put you to sleep because you're not rationalizing and looking at things. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Completely understand.
Black is not Ebonics. That's not no black science fiction, Ebonics. Science fiction is science fiction. It's mathematics. Mathematics have no color. There are no races. People have come from tribes because you go back into the Bible and there's all these tribes. Nowhere in the Bible, 7,000, 8,000 years ago, does it say anything about people being Asians, Mexicans, Blacks, African Americans, Muslims, all these different names and labels that people have given each other to separate and divide you from being a humanity. Because we're humans, humanity. It's about humanity. It's about us saving the world and it's about being good. That's what anything upon the earth is really about, technically. But when you get into these races and these labels and these politics, because there were no politics 1,000 years ago, I'm just making people think and to wake them up, get them out of the matrix, come out of the dream world, come into the real world and look at the truth. Go back and look at some movie that was 50 years ago. Go back and look at some of the movies in the 30s and the 40s, the 50s, and look at the difference. You know what I'm talking about? They got more truth in these old movies, and they got garbage and no master writers in all these later movies, newer movies. But I'm trying to make you see what made Black Panther so outstanding. Look, Africa has never, ever had a black superhero. The Black Panther is a black superhero for Africa. Not America, for Africa. And I bet you $100 none of you have ever looked at it like that. Come on, am I right on this or not?
I mean, I've read stories like black, I would say, or African stories where I don't know if they would consider them superheroes, but they were definitely heroes. Now I've read plenty of stories like that, or stories based on.
Yeah, but I didn't mean to cut you off, but A.J. Rogers wrote a lot of it. And a lot of it's true. He's talking about what was going on with black people back in the day. But you haven't seen any movies that attribute to that writing that he's done, to the books that he wrote. You haven't seen any movies.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I understand now. Okay.
Any in science fiction form. You haven't seen any movies in science fiction form where you get to be a superhero, that there's a character that you can say, hey, I'm Morpheus. I'm the Oracle. I'm APOC. I'm Tank. You see what I'm talking about?
I understand.
Right. You can't, there's nothing that you have been identifying with. You can't identify with Superman. You can't identify with Batman. You can't identify with Spider-Man or Iron Man or Rocky. Come on. It's all fictitious. It ain't even in the real world. There is no Superman, Clark Kent saving the world. There's no Batman, Spider-Man, Iron Man. There's not even a Rocky, a white boxer that's beating a black man. You saw that with Floyd Mayweather and McGregor. Come on, wake up. Wake up. Everybody that's been fantasizing about Superman, Batman, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Rocky That's the white world fantasizing about it because it ain't going on in reality. That's their heroes. So their science fictions like Star Wars is sacred to them because they're winning in that world, fantasy world, but it ain't what's happening in the real world. In the real world is people of all ethnicities and ethnicities that are saving the world. It's the United Nations. You see what I'm talking about? It's all of us cooperating. But I don't know, some kind of reason you don't want to see that. You guys think that it's separation, but separation was taught to you. That was to put you to sleep. That was to divide and subtract and to take away from you. Now look, I saw Muhammad Ali. I'm at USC. It's 1980. And we got a living black superhero, Muhammad Ali. Come on. But he's not acknowledged as a superhero. And he's real. He ain't Superman. He ain't Iron Man. He ain't even Rocky. Rocky was based on his real life in reverse. You guys never looked at it like that. Come on.
Ms. Stewart, do you think two white men at Marvel wrote the Black Panther, or did they get the story or buy the story from somewhere else?
Man, let me tell you something. Somebody went in there and just twisted a whole lot of stuff, because let me tell you how you're going to find out. You are going to see part 2 of Black Panther in a long time, because they're going to have to come up with something to top that. And if they can't top that, then you know they didn't write it. So what are you going to think then? What are you going to think then? It's the same thing with Andy and Larry Wachowski. Did you see anything? Did you see anything they topped after Matrix 1? What was 2 and 3 but a bomb and a flop? And where was it going? Nowhere. And what happened? They killed out Neo and Trinity? Come on. Who kills out $1 billion franchise? Somebody that didn't write it. It's just like this. You can steal a Picasso painting right now. You can find one in a basement of an old house right now and go put your name on it and go sell it for millions of dollars. But then when they say, hey, we're waiting on the next one, what are you going to do? I don't paint that anymore. I'm going to go start selling other people's paintings.
Right. Now, Ms. Stewart, you reference the Bible a lot in your writings. Should Black people, or should people in general, specifically Black people, should we, I would say, read the Bible from an esoterical standpoint, or literally as in it really happened, it's true history standpoint? How should we?
The Bible is mixed with both.
Okay.
The Bible is literal and it's esoterical both, because it clearly tells you, and everybody go back and research what I'm saying. Don't take my word. Don't believe me. Go back and look at everything I'm saying and research it so you can find out the truth on your own, and that way nobody can ever lie to you. The Bible clearly tells you that it has been adulterated, that it has been tampered with. And it tells you right up front that people have added to it and people have taken away from it, and what was going to happen to them for doing what they did. And a lot of people don't understand that the Bible is like time travel. It's past, present, and future time travel. If you could think of it in those terms, like if you could look at the Old Testament and think of, well, that's the past. And if you can look at the New Testament and think of, well, this is the present, what's going on right here, right now. And if you can look at Revelations, which are coded, like encoded, like you have to crack the codes in order to get God's knowledge, that's the future, what one will become. And that's why people don't know what it's saying. But what people do, instead of separating the Old Testament from the New Testament and the New Testament from Revelation, they bunch it all together. And that's where the confusion come in. It's just like right now, if somebody came upon the earth and they saw what was going on here, and they looked at our history, but nobody didn't tell them that reading what happened in World War I or World War II years ago is totally different from what's going on right now. If they look at the past, they would be confused. So you see, they couldn't tell the difference from the past, the present, and then the future technology, the future. This is all happening all at the same time, but people have put it in sections. They look at the past, okay, the past, that's a long time ago, and the present is happening right now, and then the future is upon us. But everything is bunched together, and that's where the confusion come in. Because time, there is no time. Everything is happening simultaneously, all at the same time, and it takes your consciousness to wake up to know when something that you need to dwell in is the present. The past you can learn from, but it's gone. You can't live in it. You can't go back. It's gone. But you can learn from it. Because there are stories like the David and Goliath story that I actually lived because I beat Goliath. But they don't want you to know about it in the news because that would destroy all of the Goliaths here on earth. And it will raise up a lot of new Davids because everybody could say, wow, that David and Goliath story is true because I lived it. It was an example for me to know that I didn't have to be afraid, that all things were possible, and that I could beat and destroy Goliath. So there are things that are created in the Bible to give you an example of that you can overcome any adversity here on earth. Because if you looked in the past, someone has done it. It's a role model. It's an example. It's a blueprint to let you know that you can overcome anything here. So what I'm trying to get you to see that a lot of stuff is out there that's simply putting you to sleep. Wake up. Unplug from the matrix. It's all around you. You can taste it, you can smell it, you can see it, but it's not real. It's an illusion. And it creates this fear, which is nothing but false evidence appearing as real. That's all fear is. The illusions seem more real than the truth.
Ms. Stewart, what inspired you? We have a question in the chat room. What inspired you to write books like The Third Eye and The Matrix 4? Like, how did you come up with it?
The Third Eye is the Matrix was the continuation of my work. The derivatives are not the source. The Third Eye Matrix book is the source. The movies that's the ignorance of people of color. They think that the movie came before the source work. That's just like you trying to put the egg before the chicken.
Right.
The chicken had the egg. The egg didn't have the chicken. The chicken had the egg. It came out of the chicken's womb. So how can the movies come before my work? My work came before the movies. It's the only source work. The script and the book. What inspired me? I was inspired by truth in God. I wasn't inspired by Star Wars because I recognized the story of Star Wars, how Satan, Lucifer, fell from the light side to the dark, and the Matrix is the opposite story. Star Wars, the wars in heaven. The reason why you're seeing all of the Star Wars flopping the way they are, because they're going away from the true story that Lucas created. Lucas was celebrating Lucifer, Satan, the fallen star. And it used to be on YouTube, he would tell you they're talking about the devil, but they didn't remove it now because they don't want you to know the truth. But there's a lot of people out there that heard the truth, and a lot of people that knows the biblical story knows what Star Wars is about. Come on, the dark side, the dark star, Darth Vader, Devil's children, Luke and Leah, Anakin, Antichrist, against. I mean, if you wake up, you can figure it out.
Mm.
Star Wars, the wars in heaven, where there was a war in heaven. This is why it's called Star Wars, because in heaven, the planets are the stars. But in heaven, Lucifer was kicked out because he was creating negativity. And who kicked him out was Michael. And what were they? They were not archangels, they were cherub angels, giant angels. When you look at the Ark of the Covenant, go in the Bible, you see the Ark of the Covenant, you'll see it in the movies Raiders, Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's two giant wingspan angels that cover the throne of God. They were called Michael and Lucifer. So look at them, because nobody has ever told you guys who these angels were.
Now,
and look,
go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Matrix is Matrix. Look, third eye Matrix. The third eye is the eye of God, because on earth we have two eyes. The Matrix is the woman's womb. It's a 7,000-year-old word. I'm talking about the woman's womb, her stargate, her portal, because this is the only way you're going to get here, including from the female animals. The only way you're going to get here in this physical domain. So what is the third eye matrix talking about? It's talking about the eye of God, and it's talking about the woman's womb, and it's talking about how man created his own children, the artificial intelligence, which they're calling Sophia, the AI. In my book, I called her Ava, but they're calling her Sophia. But when you read the third eye book, you saw Ava. You saw it in soulless. And what is soulless? Soulless is mean born without seeds or souls, because that's what the artificial or the machines are. The naked microchip clone cyborg Terminator, naked without shame. He has no shame because he has no soul, and no soul gives no emotions, no love, no feelings, nothing. All of that's terminated. What is the whole Matrix premises is about? It's the second coming of the Christ, the evolutions of consciousness, making you awake, coming awake, bringing you out of your sleep, man versus the machine. What is the prophecy? The oracle has the prophecy that a child is going to be born, Neo, the one. And one is an anagram. Neo is an anagram for one, Neoone. This child is going to be born that's going to destroy the machines when they enslave mankind in the future. So what does the Terminator have to do? The Terminator has to time travel, come through a burning blue portal looking for Sarah Connor, because Sarah Connor is Neo's mother. So JC, John Connor, Jesus Christ, grows up to be Neo, one and the same in the Matrix, which is the future. In the future, the machines take over, man's children. Of his man's children versus God's children, which have seeds or souls. So God's children is continued. But man's children, it ends. Because man's children can't have a baby. Man's children doesn't have a womb. Man's children has no stargate or portal to bring life, because it has no life. Life comes from life.
Ms. Stewart, do you believe in a holographic universe, like everything is already been played out in this world in another dimension? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm talking about the holograms in Matrix 4.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's getting Matrix 4 and read about the virtual car before you even seen one in the Black Panther movie. Where do you think the Black Panther movie got that virtual car from? It got it right out of Matrix 4, where Neo and Morpheus is riding in the virtual car, the virtual Sphinx car. If you don't believe me, the book has been out since 2010, published since 2010, selling around the world. This is the 8th year. Ask the fans. I'm talking about hologram clones, the new Terminators. I'm talking about virtual reality. I'm talking about digital downloading 35 years ago, and the first virtue image where you see in the Matrix, where their bodies are sleeping in the ship, but their astral bodies, their virtual figures are going up and down the telephone line.
Right.
I'm talking about body scanners. I'm talking about food scanners, the Federal Reserve, the Trilateral Commission, the Illuminati, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. Come on, you read the Third Eye book.
Mm-hmm.
You don't believe it was created in 1981, 83, and 84? Go to the Library of Congress and pull up and you'll see it's the original work.
We have a couple questions in the chat room. Let me, Chief Nidro, thank you for the super chat. His statement is Black Panther is African, many African superheroes out there. When can we start promoting those through Nollywood? Need to work with Nollywood. Do you think Black Hollywood so-called should team up with Nollywood?
Well, Nollywood is nothing but black, but you can create your own world. You don't have to go with either if you want to. That's your choice. But the gift is inside of you. Just because you've been lied to doesn't make the gift go away. It doesn't give you any encouragement. You know, you have been discouraged. But there was Black Wall Street before White Wall Street. It was black bread before white bread. It was black and brown rice before it was white rice. So it was, I don't understand how you don't know you came first. Even the void of the universe was black before light came on it, which made it white. So how do you come second if you already know the truth that you were here first? And if you look at the Bible, there was no Bible, but it was called the Book of Life or the Book of Death during the ancient Egyptian period of hieroglyphics, which the Third Eye Matrix is talking about. That's where the Bible came from. That's where Anthony Robbins, Napoleon Hill, Dale Carnegie, and Vincent Peale, and all these other people based their books from. The Bible. And I can't believe you guys don't know that. What do you think inspired them to write all those books that they got out there that has inspired people? What do you guys think the Bible came from? Do you think the white man invented it? Well, then you need to go and check out ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. And they're talking about it's alien. And it didn't come from the earth. It came beyond the earth.
So Mr. Do you believe that ancient aliens, we say the Anunnaki, the Greys, that's what they're referred to at times, came to this earth to populate it?
Of course, because look, you didn't come from any monkey, Darwin's theory. Whoever buys that, how can you come from a monkey and a monkey can't talk? If the monkey came before you, he should be more intelligent than you and you'd be off his offspring. But he's been evolved into something greater than you.
Right.
So how can it be retarded? He can't talk, but you can talk, but you came from him. That doesn't make any sense. Where's your common sense, you people?
They will say, well, we evolved. We evolved, I guess. That's what they will say.
Well, if you evolved, if the monkey evolved into you, then how come the monkey is still here and he can't talk? If you became the monkey and you went through evolution, then you became greater. So he wouldn't be coming after you and still can't talk because you became him. It doesn't make any sense. Come on, wake up. I mean, I'm laughing because you got to be completely stupid to believe you came from a monkey and you evolved into a high intelligence and he's still around and he can't talk. That's funny. I'm cracking up laughing. I'm sorry.
You know, but that's what some of us have been taught. So, you know, unfortunately, some people believe that.
Well, if you believe that and you're looking at the monkey and you're supposed to be him, what do you believe then? Because the monkey still can't talk, but you evolved into him. So what happened? You're supposed to be the evolutionary changes of the monkey.
Right.
The monkey started out as this, and it rose up and started walking and talking, but yet you're looking at him every day and he can't talk. So how could you come from something that's lesser than you? You can only come from something greater. Something lesser can't come out of you. Did you see anybody having a monkey? Have you ever seen anybody having a monkey?
No.
Exactly. But they made a monkey out of you with the lie. That's what they did. It's true. Come on.
No, absolutely right.
It's funny. I'm sorry for laughing, but it is funny as hell.
Miss Stewart,
and everybody and I'm talking about it in the Matrix 4 too. And don't think I'm not covering that subject. It's been covered for 8 years in Matrix 4 book. I'm just sorry for people that they haven't got the Matrix 4 book and read it.
I'm going to get it next week. I'm going to buy it next week. Next week.
I wish you had a guy so you could have been on this interview with it.
Well, we got
blown your mind.
I'm sorry. Next week, I'm definitely gonna get it. Ridley Scott. From reading your books, I feel like Ridley Scott and Alien and Prometheus pulled a lot of maybe I would say source material from your book.
And so did Total Recall, Stargate. They used the graphic special effects. Predator came out of my book.
Right.
A lot of the movies that you see out there, Selfless, came right out of my book. And the FBI knows about it. Transformer, Michael Bay. So tons of stuff, graphics and special effects, right out of my book. The Dooms 1986 movie came right out of my book, not the old 70s book. Because a cop bought my book, Michael Foss from New York City.
I want to say Mad Max came out of your book too.
Oh yeah, definitely. The Dome.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The Dome.
That's right, the Dome.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the Dome in my book.
Right, that's where I got that from.
Yeah, they even use the X-Files. You can see the logos. Stargate, you can see where the ship comes off the top of it's the whole thing, the graphics and the special effects that I created in the 80s. I mean, they stole graphics, special effects, characters, concepts right out of my book. And many fans have gone and read the book and say, oh my God, this movie came out of your book.
That's what I got.
Look, did you see the Predator where the nuclear triangles that the Predators have, the blow up stuff, right?
Right, yeah, when they're about to die. Yeah, it's like their ritual killing, kind of like what's the Japanese not the Shogun, but the Japanese warriors, you guys. Somebody help me out in the chat room. The Japanese warriors. Samurais, right? When they killed themselves. Samurais. Yeah, that's kind of what the aliens do. Not the aliens, but the Predator does as well.
The Predator. Yeah, Predator come right out of my book. The creature, everything. A lot of the stuff that Schwarzenegger, Terminator, all of that came right out of my book. And anybody gets the book, it's right in your face. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's got the copyright, 1981, 83, and 84. Terminator didn't come out till October the 26th, 1984. Matrix didn't come out till March the 31st, 1999. And they're going to try to say that they got it out of Ghost of the Jails, the Ghost out of Ghost Jails, or whatever the name of that book. And that book came later. Way later, after my book, after my copyright, later, I think 86 or something. Goes to the shell or something. Everything they're referencing came later.
Right. That's why when I read your book, I noticed how they kind of took it from they sourced it from your material.
Yeah, my original material. They had never seen anything like, and they sold. And guess what? The FBI and the Department of Justice, they all know about it. They know that they counterfeited and bootleg copyrighted work. And anybody gets a book and go to the Library of Congress and pull the original work up, there it is, right there, staring you in the face.
I wrote this note down. I didn't write it completely. I think in your book you mentioned 4D children, maybe, or 4D people. Is that correct?
Yeah, four-dimensional beings.
Right. Are those the indigo? Are those the indigo children? They keep talking. People keep speaking on these indigo children that are supposed to be born.
Well, I'm talking about the indigo children and the crystals in the Matrix 4 book, and I want you to read it and others. I'm not going to go into all of that stuff because you'll need to get the book, and they need to go into the details, but it's there. You can look at the copyrights. It's there, and it's been selling around the world since 2010 for Matrix 4 book, which is the new book, because I'm getting ready to release 2 more new books coming up very shortly here. So it's going to be 4 books out totally. And some of them are already out in ebook already. But let me go back to what I was saying. You can look at it and see where all this original work, the graphics and the special effects, because it's all in the book. I have graphics and special effects and characters, because these people never had any source work. There's no source work at the Library of Congress showing that Andy Larry Chelsea created anything. There is no source work in the Library of Congress showing James Cameron created anything. He stole some teleplay from Harlan Ellison's teleplay's background. He stole some old black and white background that was $85,000 worth, and he paid Harlan Ellison for it. But Harlan Ellison did not write the Terminator. Just used his teleplay. And if you look at James Cameron is calling a machine a Terminator, he's calling him a ship shaker. He's talking about witchcraft and demon possession.
Now, Mr.
Apparently, he's a warlock.
Now, Mr. Stewart, you were speaking on the Rockefellers, who I guess are the Rockefellers, back in the early 80s.
That's right. And the reason why, you know why I'm talking about them?
Why?
Because I was mentored by the Illuminati when I was 7, 8, 9 years old, the Rosicrucian branch. So I already knew about them when I was a little kid. So how else can I be talking about them 35 to almost 40 years before you guys even knew they existed? Because you got to realize the book is 1981, 83, and 84. It's book and script. So, and it's 1980, and I'm at USC, and I'm writing it. I'm from New York City. So you guys in that year, 1980, don't know anything about the Illuminati. Don't know that the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the Vanderbilts, none of these people existed. You don't even know that they existed, but you didn't know they existed as Illuminati.
Are you working on a movie now? James Johnson wants to know, are you going to release a movie anytime soon?
Hey, Matrix 4.
Okay.
Matrix 4 is going to be, listen, you guys, Matrix 4 is coming. It's the 4th installment that takes place after 1, Matrix 1, and 2 and 3 is a dream that Neo and Trinity had, so they never died. They woke up from that dream, their soulmates, and and Matrix continues. You can't kill my work out because I created the work. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So all the fans are elated that their superheroes didn't die. It was just a dream. Because I wrote the evolutions of consciousness, a dream within a dream, just like the wheel within a wheel with Ezekiel. Or are you sleeping right now? Or is this a dream or is this reality?
Right. So, Ms. Stewart, what do you see Black sci-fi going here in the future in Hollywood? Like what?
It's no such thing as Black sci-fi. It's Black superheroes being a part of science fiction. It's Black characters being a part of the real world. There is no black or white writing. Only knowledge is in the brain. Your skin doesn't write, so it doesn't matter what color your skin is. It could be purple, it could be alien, because your skin doesn't write. It's just a cover. Your womb, being a woman, doesn't write, or you being a male, doesn't write. Having a penis doesn't write. Penis doesn't write. My womb doesn't write. It's your brain, and your brain has no gender, and it has no race, because race doesn't exist. Race is the labor that somebody put on you to separate and divide you, to keep you from functioning and seeing the truth. The brain is nothing but pure knowledge. So therefore, anybody can write a science fiction, which is mathematics, the universal language. It's the universal language. But you could put in black characters and people of color, because that's the world that you exist in, which is the truth. So you have to get away from black and white. There is no African Americans. You're an American. You were born in America. You're an American. An American, and this is the truth, because there are no colors of races. It doesn't exist.
Right, but
it's a nation. People come from nations. Don't wait. There are people. I come from a military law enforcement family. I've been on a basis. There are bases over in Germany. There are children born on a military base. They're born in Germany on a military base. Now, they got this double nationalities. They're Germans and they're Americans. So now, say a black kid is born on that base over in Germany. That kid has two nationalities. He can go either way. He's a German and he's an American, because he's American because he's on an American base. But when he comes over here, what is he? He's German, that's his nationality, and he's an American. So now he's black. So he's the African American, German, and black, and American. Come on.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Any sense.
But I understand what you're saying, Ms. Stewart. But it's just the reality is we're in a system of racism. So
well, they call the black people in America the minority, and all other people of color minority. 3/4 of the world are black people. So how are you the minority? Minority means less. Majority means more. So how are you the minority if you're more? That doesn't make any sense. So what I'm trying to get the people to do is get out of these euphemisms, to move out of these things and wake up to truth and stop putting yourself. See, all of these euphemisms and labels and everything was created to lock you down, to lock you in, to keep you from being conscious, to keep you from aspiring and moving up. If I was locked down in all these euphemisms, there's no way I could have created the Matrix and the Terminator. There's no way I could have moved up in the world consciously to wake you up. Because the person that sleeps can't wake up another person. If both of you are asleep, nobody is awakened. Somebody has to be awakened to wake up another person that's sleeping.
Let's see what else we have in the chat room. But Miss Stewart, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Let's see if we have any more questions in the chat room. Oh, brother wanted to ask, are you familiar with Afrofuturism? Afrofuturism.
Of course. That's what they're talking about, and that's what they're talking about referencing in the Black Panther movie. It's called a movement. It's called a culture, way of dressing and looks and braids and hairstyle, and it's gonna make money. In fact, they're gonna introduce it really big time with Comic-Con. But it's all commercial. It's to make money. It's the way people were dressing when the Black Panther movie was going on. It's a look. It's a culture. It's a style. and it's going to make money because that's what all of that's created for, to be commercialized. Of course, I know about it, and you do too.
Mm-hmm.
But you go back and look at it, it's about making money. Anytime you have any movement, whether it's white, whether it's another tribe of people, it's all about capitalizing off of commercialism.
Malu in Yahoo wants to know, can you write a book story based on us moving back to Africa?
Why would you want to move back to Africa? Because you never came from Africa. Black people was all over the whole entire continent, and they were free. And let me tell you something. They stole black people from up north and brought them to the south to slave them. And they didn't have to go 3,000 miles to a place that was named after a white man called Africa that didn't exist, the name, to steal somebody black when they were everywhere. The only thing that you guys have been taught is that black people was either in Africa or they were in America. And you're forgetting the fact that black people was covered of the whole earth, and that you didn't have to go 3,000 miles or 6,000 miles to steal them. You could go up north and steal them, and Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth would go to the south and steal them back and bring them to freedom. The people that you see on the Indian reservations is the mixture of Cortez, the conquistadors that came over here from Portugal, Spain, and started raping all the people of these black people that were here already. And you can't put black people on any reservations because they're all over the whole entire world, which is about 7 billion people. So why would you want to go back to Africa and you never came from Africa?
So you don't think the slave trade happened?
The slave trade only happened where they stole from up north until different islands and different other places. They didn't have to go to any Africa to steal. I'm not saying that they didn't do it while they were over there exploring, that they brought some back, because I'm sure the Zulus and some of the other powerful tribes wanted to get rid of the weaker tribes. They put them on the boat and told the white man to take them out of here. That happened. That happened all over the whole entire globe, not just Africa. Black people were stolen from different ports because the white slave trade has been going on for years around the entire globe, not just Africa. Okay. But you didn't have to go far in order to steal, because black people was everywhere. Go back and look at your history book and go back and examine it, because you've been bamboozled. If you think that you only got stolen out of Africa, then you don't know what the other parts of the earth was populated with black people. The whole thing was populated with black people. All the land masses.
Okay.
Go to Wisconsin and you'll see black native people, the original black natives, the indigenous people here.
Okay, but do you believe that, I've traveled to Africa, I've been up and down the West Coast, I've seen the slave forts. You're saying that didn't happen as far as...
No, I didn't say it didn't happen. I said it was part of it, but it wasn't the greater part that you've been lied to. I said it happened everywhere on the earth. But the only thing that's been portrayed in history is the aspect of Africa, because they want you to leave the most valuable land, America, and go there. You know what's happening in Africa? They're deposed off of their own rich rubber plantations, diamond mines, gold mines. Why would you want to go there? And where West Africa, they got the children killing their own parents and incorporating them in wars.
That's not true.
They had to walk. I'm not saying in every aspect of it. I said in some part of West Africa. It is true. It's very true, and it's going on right now. I didn't say the whole Africa is huge. There are all kinds of stuff that's going on over there. And I'm not saying there's no good spots there, but it's always some type of war going on.
Me and you will do another show on that.
Great.
We could
We
do
can
it.
do another show on it, and you can bring up the statistics of it. Because I'm telling you that Africa is a huge continent, and there is no like one thing for it. There are many things happening in it. Back in South Africa, you had to have paper just to walk around, and you're gonna tell me that wasn't happening, right?
No, apartheid is over though. Apartheid is over.
I mean, I know it's over, but I said it existed.
Right.
But I'm saying here in America, you didn't have to have any paper up north. And the only reason why you were kidnapped, and y'all need to see 12 Years a Slave. The only reason they had to have anything in the South was they were captured, kidnapped, their names were changed, so they could slave them to work the South and get all the riches and then have to pay for the labor. And the war between the North and the South was about that. It was because the South was getting richer than the North, and the North got jealous about it because they had to pay the black people up north. They had to pay them. In the South, they didn't have to pay them because they kidnapped them and changed their names from Kuti Kenti to Toby, so they could work them for free.
So do you believe the story of Kute Kinte, him coming from Gambia to America? Do you believe that story?
It didn't matter. It didn't matter where it came from. Kuti Kenti meant only that was his real name. And when they changed it to Toby, because if he was kidnapped from Africa, what the hell does it matter if his name was Kuti Kente or what the hell it was? Why would it need to be changed to Toby if it wasn't a kidnapping? Because that's what happens when people kidnap children and other people. They change their damn names. Be for real. If it didn't matter, it wouldn't matter what name you were called. When you change your name, you're trying to cover up a crime because it was against the law to steal black people from up north that was free and working and kidnapping them and changing their name for free labor. You need to go back because the white man is the one that created the history, and that's his story. But you need to go back and find out the real story.
Okay. All right, sister. We will do another show on this, but thank you, Miss Stewart, for coming on. We really appreciate it. Anything else you want to share in closing?
Get the book. Go to my website, matrixterminator.com. Get the books and read them. Third Eye Matrix and Matrix 4 book. Matrix 4 movie coming out. You know, that you an apple, Jack, if he can't give you an apple.
Okay.
I'd get it for consumer fraud. So get the Matrix 4 book, find out the truth. And let me come back and have your answers. And ask me anything you want. But the Matrix is waking you up. It's not putting you to sleep. I wasn't here. I didn't create the work to put you to sleep. Anybody can lie to you, but you need to dig for the truth.
Absolutely.
You don't got to believe me. Just seek out the truth. There are black people was around everywhere. I don't care what country. Black people existed there.
Okay. Like I said, we will do another video on this. But everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you go to searchforhuru.com. Also, make sure you go to the truthaboutmatrix.com and please support Sister Stewart. Make sure you go to searchforhuru.com, dynasamira.com, africapersonified.africa. Also go to Amazon.com, search your name, Dinah Samir. Please buy a book. And make sure you go to Search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Till next time, people, Miss Stewart, thank you so much for coming on. And to next
You're
time,
welcome.
no problem. Till next time, peace. Oh, what's up, y'all? My bad. I didn't know I was still on.